Ladies and gentlemen, our next session is the keynote presentation. Please join me in welcoming the Director of the Advanced Cancer Technologies Research and Application Center at HACETTEPE University, Turkey, Professor Dr. Gokhan Ozyigit as the keynote speaker for today's event. Prof. Gokhan, the stage is yours.
So let me start with your words. Terima kasih, Solat. Actually, I have a chance to visit several countries due to the nature of my profession. But since Wednesday, I haven't ever seen such a huge population with smiling faces. That gives me so much positive energy. So again, I'm saying terima kasih. So let's come back to my presentation. I know there are several non-medical persons and also the neurosurgeons with us. So I will try to be as not technical as possible. I was also the past chair of our society, Turkish Radiation Oncology Society, 4 years ago. Let me first introduce my university. Like Indonesia University, HACETTEPE University is one of the leading universities in our region. It's a major national and international referral hospital, also HACETTEPE hospitals. Our base is actually built on medical faculty. Of course, we have engineering faculty. We have 2 campuses. We are in the central campuses, which originally HACETTEPE University was built in 1960s. And the largest radiation oncology department among university hospitals belong to HACETTEPE University. And as you see, it covers an area of 2,500 square meters, -1 and -0, -1 and -2 floors of oncology hospital, because we have a separate oncology complex in our university. We have also a JCI accreditation. Those are our instrument park, medical devices park. We have 2 CT simulators, one with big bore and 4D capabilities. We have also 3 Electroverse HD machines, particularly for extracranial SBRTs, and also they have the capability of vision RT system for surface-guided radiotherapy. We have another HDR system, HDR brachytherapy system with cobalt-60 source. As you see, we have several SBRT and SRS devices. Novalis Brain Lab is also one of them. CyberKnife, still, let me say it's not operational, but still in their bunker, still operational if we open it. But we don't need anymore because we have the ZAP-X since 2024. I will explain the details of ZAP-X later. But first of all, let me explain the basic philosophy of SRS, particularly for non-radiation oncologists. Those are the family pictures from Dresden, but you don't see my family because the focus is not my family. The focus is Dresden city. Dresden is in the southern part of Germany, and in the Second World War, there was a heavy bombardment on this city, and you see those darkened, blackened, soothed walls. Dresden city was actually rebuilt by these original bricks, one by one, and you see they renovate the original city again. one of my daughter studying IBA in Rotterdam. Nazis make the similar thing in Rotterdam, but absolutely and totally demolished. Let us see what happened over there. Let's go back to 70 years ago. This is the, can you have the voice, please? Those are all voice. Please open the. Is okay? Okay, good. In 1945, with heavy bombardments, you will see in a moment. Same thing is also in several cities, including London, Rotterdam. Unfortunately, this is one of the biggest wars in the history of the world. You see, those bombs are not in the military targets, like in the London, like in the Rotterdam. Similar thing in the restaurant. What was the result? It's the total destruction of a city, loss of civilian loss, thousands of civilian loss. This was a catastrophic result. Unfortunately, this is the worst thing after wars. Let's come back to radiation oncology. I was resident in 1990s. I'm coming from the two-dimensional area. We are almost demolishing at that period as a radiation oncology. Maybe now, if we are still radiation oncology, we get rid of this one, two-dimensional radiotherapy. It was same as carpet bombing. You are carpet bombing several places. Pelvis box therapy. Maybe Suhartati remember those times. For lymphoma, carpet bombing to entire lymphatic system. Unfortunately, we have no technology at those moments. But let's go to the modern warfare. Tomahawk missiles of the US. Those are the right sides, Turkish combat drones that we used during the Syrian war against Assad regime to distract their tanks. We only bombed the tanks or military targets. They are so less collateral damage. And the collateral damage is the key point also for SRS. You see, as far as I know, Indonesian army has also purchased those drones from us. They are highly effective. But anyway, I'm a medical doctor, not warrior. Those war are so bad. Let's come back to radiation oncology. How did it happen in radiation oncology? The answer is the IMRT. The absolute revolutionary step in radiation oncology, he saves our lives as a radiation oncology, was the IMRT. We are not aware of it, because since history is written when it passed, we can modulate our beams. We can sculpture our fields with the X-rays. We have the possibility and ability with them. How? With the advanced computer software and hardware. I was over there. I'm a bit lucky because I am one of the witnesses of those revolutions. Maybe I'm part of it. This is the first clinical IMRT book that we have edited with Cliff Chow when I was in Washington University. Later on, we transferred to the MD Anderson Cancer Center, and the second one published. But you see, it's the beginning of new millennium. It was we are so lucky, and it's my also honor to have the edit those chapters. And you see several legendary radiation oncologists gathering on the table. This was the first IMRT meeting held on Houston in February 2003. I was 29 to 30 years old age. I'm a bit honored to be being part of this. And after this, guidelines also appear in the literature because we don't know how to delineate our targets, so that was also an important part of it. And after the invention of IMRT, there is a sudden blast in the machines, radiotherapy machines. You are seeing tomotherapy, TrueBeam, Electroverse HD, CyberKnife. Those are also the products of IMRT-H. Without IMRT-H, those machines probably could not exist. Those are, you see the machine only, but there is a huge background of hardware and software beneath this one. Even the artificial intelligence was still exists in the newer versions. This is the power of IMRT. Those figures, Brooke Shields and Mickey Mouse, was drawn by the IMRT ability. Those are the pictures with X-rays. X-rays made those pictures with the IMRT. So we can sculpture our fields according to the tumor shape. That's the basic thing. But when we look at the history of SRS, for about half a century, gamma knife was the only device that we have had. And I mean, its technology is still the same, except the treatment planning part. And it's a misleading term also, currently. It's not a surgical procedure, actually, because we can do it non-invasively. The only surgical part may be the surgical effect of SRS. Secondly, this frame that we put into patients. But now, frameless system already in the market, as you know. This is the first patient treated, I mean, not the first one, but one of the first patients treated in Karolinska University. He is a famous neurosurgeon who performed the first SRS, Lars Lexell, and that frame also called with the name of Lexell, we call it Lexell frame. You see, it's an invasive immobilization device still used in treatment. At that time, they treated some functional disorders like tremor, epilepsy, some AVM. Later on, of course, they added benign and malignant tumors. And for about half a century, gamma knife, of course, has some newer versions, but then several dedicated systems was also appeared in the market. CyberKnife is the first invention of John Adler. Later on, ZAP-X is the last dedicated system. This is the history of ZAP-X, already mentioned in previous slides. In January 2019, first patient treatment. Of course, he has the previous FDA clearance for SRS treatment. And clinical applications, as you see, is exactly the same as the gamma knife, which has the standard of care several years. But when you look at the other systems, actually all systems supposed to be works in the field of SRS and SBRT. But there is an important difference in terms of collateral damage. There are only 3 dedicated systems with high superiority compared to the other ones. The last one is ZAP-X. I think this is one of the best ones. CyberKnife and gamma knife icon. Those are the systems that we should use for SRS treatment in the cranial region. I will tell you later why. And the history of SRS in our department goes back to 1993s. I have a chance to observe some patients treated during my residency with that frame. We are using Philips. Philips not manufacturing anymore any linear accelerator device. Now it's the Electa, actually. It has a special accessory to stabilize both gantry and also the table. Immobilization is very important because if there is any millimetric motion, your bullet goes to normal tissue. That's a catastrophe. So that's very important that dedicated devices should be used in the cranial sites. And you see the treatment at those times in HACETTEPE University. But it was for today's standards, as you see, it's not acceptable. Because the staff is just busy with just one SRS patients all day alone. And routine therapies were not possible for that day. Let me say one linear accelerator could treat at least 60 patients per day on average. None of them treated during this SRS treatment. So it's not practical and it's not routine. Therefore, in 2007, we decided to install per case CyberKnife, first invention of Adler. We were again the first in our region who installed this machine. Quite good machine, meanwhile, let me say that. Really good, particularly in the extracranial side, let me say that. With the advancement in technology, of course, we use it for about 17 years. Thousands of patients treated, both cranial and extracranial. We have several publications in the highly cited papers, Red Journal, Green Journal. You may see them in the literature. Now in 2024, lifelong, I mean the life of CyberKnife went down, and we tried to replace it and examine all dedicated devices. We have the Gamma knife, we have the CyberKnife upgrade, maybe possible. Third one is ZAP-X. There is another one, but I'm not calling it as a dedicated device, really. So we install the machine. I will also have a slide to construction phase of it. You see, there is no bunker. There is open windows. There is a garden just beneath it. Psychologically, it affects and it's your mood very in positive way. You see the garden and self-shielded machine. And the command room is within the room, within the not high dose area, but within a very high dose giving machine. It's really interesting. I will show you later. During the treatment, I give special broadcast to the TV from that machine. Why did we prefer ZAP-X machine, not the others? We have already several SRS machine in our department, as you see, Novalis Brain Lab, Electroverse HD, you can do the SRS in a way, but we have never done it, let me say that. We have the CyberKnife, we can upgrade it, but the important thing is that Penumbra. Penumbra is the most important issue. It's a technical issue, so I will not go much into detail. I'm gonna show you that slide, summarize everything. The best devices are on the right for SRS. The other one, I'm not saying the worst, because it's not a good term to say it. CyberKnife and ordinary linear accelerator here. First of all, focal spot size is very important. You see the smallest one are ZAP-X and Gamma knife. Source access distance, as John Adler said, is very important. It's a basic geometry, not a complex geometry. Collimator axis distance is again important, and energy is also important. It's one of the major determinants of the penumbra. Those are the profile. Profile are saying lots of things. This may be a technical, but let me explain you. The green one is the ZAP-X. The other blue one in the middle for the X direction is the Gamma knife. The red one is the CyberKnife. You see the best profile, I mean the less collateral damage in the X and Y direction is coming from ZAP-X. Only in the Z direction Gamma knife can catch the dose profile of ZAP-X. No need to say, there is no bunker, so I spare one bunker in my department for other devices. Another issue is the red one, because the others are already mentioned. There is no headache for cobalt-60 source replacement. When the other vendor comes to me, I said that if you would like to well balance, please give us to HACETTEPE University unlimited cobalt-60 source. Then you will be balanced during the tender. That's a basic thing that I would like to. Because I want, as a HACETTEPE University, we do not want to get cobalt-60 source in every 6 to 7 years, giving at least 1 to 2 linear accelerator costs. That's another reality in terms of cost effectiveness. This is the ZAP installation timeline overview from the ZAP-X slides, but it's not too short, believe me. It's only 5.5 months duration. Starting from the contract, I was the chair at that moment, I signed the contract, and 5.5 months, we have the first ZAP-X patients. 2 days ago, I said that the opening was just in my birthday, 8th of February was my birthday, so we make the opening ceremony. So from 0 day to the 5.5 months, let's see what's happening. Meanwhile, HACETTEPE University, this site is a historical site. It's the oldest city. There are several historical buildings, narrow streets. We are getting a 27 tons machine from that area. So we should be very careful. For instance, there is a mosque from the 14th century. It's an old Seljuk mosque. They are all historical. You see, there's a huge countries coming with the self-shielding. From those streets, you see on the left side historical buildings. This is the installation phase, and it's the winter time for Turkey. I know Indonesia people don't know about snow and you know the heavy rain, but you don't know the snow. This installation has been made in the winter time. This is the logo, the emblem of HACETTEPE University at the top. And our director of university in the opening. It was 7th in the Europe, 18th in the world. This is ZAP-X. I am saying budget man of president was over there in the opening. Budget is very important. And you see the interest of media, TV, because it's really a futuristic design, as you see here. Several national, highly rated TVs was over there to see what's happening. This is one of our first patients treated. It was the pontocerebellar angle tumor, still under control, with stabilization, with preserving his hearing. You can monitor the patients from the inside of the treatment room, and this colored area is the risky zone for the personnel. So when you enter this color zone, the machine automatically stops for safety purposes, nothing else. That's the installation phase. Till now, we treated record number of patients in the world. Let me say that within 2 years, we were also the first radiation oncology department. We have the CyberKnife history. That's why we can easily adapt ourselves routinely. After opening, we just go to treatment. Brain metastasis, as estimates, is the number 1. And UL melanoma is very important. Since we are radiation oncologists, we can treat the ENT and the ophthalmological area. And one of the largest series we have treated with the CyberKnife was the UL melanoma. We were already published it in the red and green journal. Recurrent GBM, AVM, trigeminal neuralgia, recurrent head and neck cancer, chordoma, and lattice therapy. Professor Gokhan Ozyigit is doing that. It's an experimental but highly interesting therapy. I will recommend you to read the paper. This is, for instance, a UL melanoma just abutting the optic nerve in the green one, the starting point for the optic nerve. You can preserve such a millimetrical distance with ZAP-X machine. We compare with the CyberKnife, show the superiority of ZAP-X clinically. This is just a large pontocerebellar angle tumor abutting to brainstem. You can also spare those areas. For instance, this patient received 5 fractions. The duration is 1.5 weeks, and we can probably preserve his hearing. Of course, we are not waiting for any improvement in the hearing loss, but at least we can preserve it, and also we can prevent it. Local control is around 95%, let me say that. And when this tumor progresses, it presses the brainstem. There are several neurosurgeons, and you know the catastrophic results afterwards. This is a patient with 20 metastases. This is my own patient. Those are the plans of the ZAP-X. There are several metastases all around the cranial, including cerebrum and cerebellum. Particularly cerebellum is full of metastases. And in 6 months, you are seeing lots of them disappear or without contrast. I think 20 years ago, if I showed these patients, probably most of you said that, why don't you give whole brain radiation? But now, as you know, brain metastasis management is the stereotaxis, not the whole brain. Even we are preserving the hippocampal area. 20 metastases, meanwhile, is not a big problem. I know in the literature, more than 30 metastases treated with the SRS machine. It is incredible to do that. And this patient is still alive 2 years later. Let me tell you. Of course, systemic therapy is still continuing. This is a breast cancer patient. Those are the literature. In CyberKnife, we have tons of papers published already in the literature. And ZAP-X, we are starting to produce our papers again for the delivery quality assurance for this system. We verified it. Maybe if you are dealing with the glioblastoma patients, you can look at this paper. This is an experimental. First, Gözde met the dosimetric studies. Later on, UL melanoma, we compare with the CyberKnife. Dosimetric superiority is best with the ZAP-X. And this is the case series. It's an experimental therapy with special permission, with specific IRB approval. We are doing this system 20 gray, not the entire tumor, just part of it we are giving. Because this machine gives 15 gray per minute compared with the gamma knife. Gamma knife is around 3 to 5 gray per minute, maybe you know. And this is at the beginning. With years and years, cobalt-60 naturally decays. And the dose rate decreased dramatically. At the end of half-life, it's around 1.5 to 2 gray per minute. But this machine gives 50 gray per minute. If the machine breakdowns, that's the end of it. Maybe 15, 20 years later. Of course, there is an upgrade every time because they are developing better software, better hardware, and as HACETTEPE University, we have upgraded our systems 3 months ago, I think, with the new system. Particularly the planning system is very good. You can treat several metastases at the same time. It's highly user-friendly system. That's it. I think this helps you in your written practice, and I hope that in a near future, you'll have the ZAP-X for Indonesian people, Indonesian cancer patients, because they really need it, I think. Thank you very much for your interest. Terima kasih.